Hello everybody, this is 8-Bit Flashback, and I just received my new MegaDrive case made by Retroflag, and this thing looks awesome. If you're a Sega fan like me, or just a retro gaming fan in general, I think this case is a must-have for your miniature collection. So this case is designed for the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B and B+. And obviously, the design of this case was inspired by the Sega MegaDrive and Sega Genesis Model 1. And there's a couple variations of this case online. You can get this with or without the fans. This particular one does come with the fans and heat sinks. And these cases are available on Amazon.com right now, and I'll make sure to post a link down below for US and UK links. This also comes with a nice travel bag or dust cover so you can put your case inside there and keep it protected. So let's take a closer look at the case itself, and it does have a functional power button and reset button, and both of these can be programmed to be a safe shutdown and safe reset. It also has a nice little feature located right here. If we push that volume button down, that opens a lid where we can store our micro SD cards. So that's a nice little feature, and there is plenty of room for multiple micro SD cards in here. But for all the modders out there like myself, this opens the window for all kinds of cool ideas you could use this for. For instance, I could use this to play little tiny game discs with NFC tags like this. Or I could even do a game cartridge mod. So with that little bit of extra room in that compartment, there's all kinds of mods you could do. And located right here on the side of the case is going to be another access door, and this is where you're going to put your micro SD cards. And this slot is going to line right up with the micro SD card slot that's going to be on your Raspberry Pi 3. On the back of the case is where we're going to have access to the HDMI out or the AV out and our power input. Located on the bottom of the case in the corner here, we have another access panel we can take off, and that gives us access to two of the USB ports and the Ethernet port. Now let's go ahead and compare this to the original Sega Genesis Model 1, and it seems to be at about a 50% scale of the original size. Now this case is more designed around the Sega MegaDrive colors, but as you can see, the shape and design of the Genesis is pretty much the same. And I'm liking it. And here it is next to my collection of Retroflag cases, including the NES, Super Nintendo, and the Super Famicom. And previously, the best mini Sega Genesis case I had was a Sega Genesis USB hub that you could mod and put a Raspberry Pi 3 inside of it. And I would say the detail on this MegaDrive case is a little bit better. Plus the overall design and shape is more accurate. There's also some controllers that are available from Retroflag that do resemble the Sega Genesis Model 2 6-button controllers, and they're right around $15. And I'll make sure to post a link to that as well. And I would rate these controllers as above average. Okay, it's time to go ahead and assemble this, and it should not come screwed together, so we should just be able to pull that right apart. And here's a look at the underside of the lid, and you can see some of those spring mechanisms. And it will come supplied with a screwdriver, plus 6 longer screws, and 2 shorter screws. And here is the inside of the bottom of the case, and located right here on this side is going to be a switch to turn the safe shutdown on or off. So when that's in the off position, your power button will work as a kill switch, but when it's in the on position, after you program it, it'll work as a soft shutdown, along with that reset button. And if you bought a kit that includes a fan, that will mount at the bottom right there. And this is the fan itself, and it comes with 4 longer screws. So we're going to start by installing that first if you have one of these, and that's just going to clip right in place. And to connect that fan, that's going to plug in right here. And notice on the fan right here on these terminals, there's going to be a plus and minus. The plus is going to line up with the red wire. So that's going to plug in right there. And make sure that red wire lines up with the plus symbol. Now it's time to go ahead and put our longer screws inside that fan to secure it. And there's going to be one that goes in each corner. Now the screwdriver that comes with this will work, but it's not the best quality. If you have some nicer screwdrivers at home, I would recommend just to use those because that might just make the job a little bit easier for you. Now it's time to grab your Raspberry Pi 3 B or B+, and we can install those heat sinks if you choose to. Now these are not required, but it might help keep it just a little bit cooler. And it's super simple to apply these. There is some adhesive tape that's on the bottom of these. You just have to remove that tab and apply these to the appropriate chip on the board. Now it's time to get that Raspberry Pi 3 plugged in via a connector that's inside that case, and there will be a diagram that kind of explains how to do this. Plus I'm going to show you how to do it as well. So there's going to be a red wire that's going to be on that wire harness inside the case, and that's going to plug into the GPIO pins that's on that Raspberry Pi 3. And that's going to plug in all the way to the right with the red wire on the bottom. So this is how it should look when it's plugged in correctly. Now we're going to angle the Raspberry Pi 3 and tip it to where the HDMI port goes in first. And once you have that HDMI port lined up, we can go ahead and tilt the rest of the board down, but we got to make sure not to pinch any of the wires, so make sure all the wires are clear as you're pressing that board down. Now we're going to secure the Raspberry Pi 3 with 2 screws, and there should be 2 screws that came supplied. They're just a little bit shorter than the rest, and that's what we're going to use. And we're going to install those on the 2 holes on the front side of the Raspberry Pi 3 located right here. Now it's time to plug in these 2 USB cables, and these will supply power to the front 2 USB ports. And this is kind of a tight fit, so if you have giant fingers, you might have to plug these in first before you secure that board. So we're just about done assembling the case. Now it's time to decide how you want to use the power and reset buttons. So this switch right here enables the soft shutdown or safe shutdown if it's in the on position. If this is in the off position, the power and reset buttons work as kill switches. What that means is it directly kills the power when you turn the switch off. But in order for that to work, we will have to download a script, and I'll show you that here in just a few. Now on the other side of the board is going to be your power switch, and that's what lines up with the power button that's going to be on the top of the case. And we want to make sure this is in the off position, as well as the button on the top of the case. We want both of those to be in the off position, and this will ensure that the power switch and power button align with each other and not cause any damage to the case or switch. And this really is pretty simple to put together. It's not taking me that long at all. Now we're going to go ahead and flip that case upside down, and we're going to put screws in 6 different holes. They're going to be located right here. And there's also going to be one inside this access panel right here if we pop this out. And as soon as you get all those screws in place, you're done assembling the case. And now it's time to start installing some software. So this case is best designed for the RetroPie operating system. So you want to go ahead and get that downloaded and installed to your micro SD card. And once you have the micro SD card set up with RetroPie installed, it's super easy to insert in the Raspberry Pi 3. You just open this access door right here and pop in your micro SD card. And now I have a functional mini Sega Genesis. Well, I guess it's technically a MegaDrive. So located on the instructions that came with the case, there's going to be a website link right here. And this is where we're going to get the script to make the soft shutdown and reset work properly. So let's go ahead and head over to that website. And if we scroll down to README, then click on that, then scroll down again, we'll find that the script's located right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And there's a couple of ways we can install this to the Raspberry Pi 3. We can use a program called PuTTY, which is what I'm going to do, or you can manually do this by accessing the terminal on your Raspberry Pi 3 through RetroPie. And to do this, you will need a keyboard that is compatible with RetroPie and also capable of making a pipe bar symbol. Now it's time to access the main menu, navigate to Quit, and then Quit Emulation Station to access the terminal. And also, in order for this to work, you will have to be logged into Wi-Fi or plugged in via an Ethernet cable so you have internet access. Now it's time to go ahead and type in this command that I copied earlier, and I'll make sure to post this down below. And after you get this typed in, go ahead and press enter. Now after you press enter, it should start installing that script, and it could take up to 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more or less depending on your internet speed. And after it's done installing that script, it should automatically reboot, and now you should have a functional safe shutdown and safe reset. So that's option 1. Option 2 would be to use a program called PuTTY on your PC. And basically what PuTTY does is it gives you remote control access to RetroPie via your PC. So now with that command that I copied earlier from the website, I can just paste that inside here and it will automatically start installing that script. And if you're a beginner, I'd recommend not worrying about PuTTY at all. I would just use the Raspberry Pi 3 and access the RetroPie terminal that way and just hand type that command. But if you are wanting to learn more about PuTTY, you can just search keywords on YouTube, PuTTY plus RetroPie, and that should pull up a bunch of different videos. Okay, it's all powered up, and now it's time to go ahead and test that safe shutdown. And when this is working properly, when you turn it off, you should end up with a bunch of text on the screen that looks like this. And it looks like everything is working just like it should. Looks like we are good to go. And as far as that reset button goes, when you push that, it just automatically reboots the system. Okay, it's that time again. It's time for me to get out of here. If you liked that video, please click that like button. If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe. And if you want to help support the channel, you can find me on Facebook and Patreon. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you next time.